Once welcomed with open arms, Americans are now being viewed with a different lens in many parts of the world. But why the sudden shift in perception? Is it politics, tourism, or something deeper? Stick around, because today we're revealing 10 countries where Americans are no longer treated the same, and some of them might surprise you. In this video, we're diving into the top 10 countries where American travelers and expats have experienced a significant shift in how they're perceived, welcomed, or even tolerated. This isn't just about politics, it's about safety, changing global dynamics, social behavior, and cultural shifts. Our list is based on real traveler experiences, local policies, diplomatic tensions, and social sentiment across these nations.
Number 10.
France has long been a dream destination for American tourists, known for its art, cuisine, and iconic landmarks. But recent years have seen a noticeable shift in how Americans are treated here. Anti-American sentiment isn't new in France, but it has become more visible. Many locals feel that American tourists disrespect cultural norms, especially when it comes to language and etiquette. According to surveys conducted by travel forums, American travelers often get labeled as loud, entitled, or ignorant of French customs. This stereotyping has increased, particularly in cities like Paris. Diplomatic tensions over issues like NATO spending, trade, and climate agreements have added to the growing divide between the US and France on a governmental level. France has also seen a rise in nationalism and protectionist ideologies. This change means locals are less patient with foreign visitors who do not adapt to local customs. Interestingly, younger French citizens are more open, but older generations often carry historical biases that trace back to past military and political actions. While American culture influences French media and fashion, there's a growing resistance to what's seen as cultural invasion, like fast food chains and Hollywood dominance. Tourism boards have advised American travelers to learn basic French phrases and understand etiquette before visiting. Some cities have even created awareness programs to train local service staff in handling tourists more diplomatically to reduce friction. Despite all this, France remains a top travel destination. But Americans today need to work a little harder to earn a warm welcome. Those who take time to blend in and show respect are often treated much better than the average tourist. So, if you're planning a trip to Paris, remember bonjour goes a long way.
Number 9.
China's relationship with the US has significantly worsened due to political and economic tensions. Trade wars, military friction in the South China Sea, and COVID-19 accusations have fueled hostility. American businesses face increased scrutiny from Chinese authorities. Citizens are taught through state media to distrust the West, especially the US surveillance has intensified, with foreigners constantly monitored online and offline. Americans visiting China report increased questioning and visa challenges. Social media platforms in China limit positive American content while amplifying criticism. Many Chinese nationals are curious but cautious around Americans. Expats now feel a sense of isolation, particularly in smaller cities. English teaching jobs, once common for Americans, are being reduced. Anti-American sentiment is subtly embedded in textbooks and news. Despite this, many Chinese people remain kind in personal interactions. However, the political climate has undeniably changed the atmosphere.
Number 8.
Mexico has a complicated love-hate relationship with the United States and its citizens. While tourism is booming, resentment is growing, especially in major cities. American expats are often blamed for rising housing prices. Political tensions about immigration and border control affect local sentiment. Locals feel that some Americans don't respect Mexican traditions or language. Cultural appropriation issues arise when tourists behave carelessly during festivals. Influencers are frequently criticized for exploiting Mexico for aesthetic gain. Crime rates in certain regions have increased, causing fear among travelers. The U.S. State Department issues frequent warnings for American visitors. Despite tension, tourism remains vital for the Mexican economy. Some neighborhoods in Mexico City and Tulum resist American gentrification. Locals appreciate tourists who make efforts to integrate and be respectful. However, the welcome isn't as warm as it once was.
Number 7.
Russia's stance toward Americans has drastically changed, especially after the Ukraine conflict. Government propaganda labels the U.S. as a threat to national stability. American tourists face intense scrutiny and possible surveillance. English-speaking visitors report being watched or followed in public places. The U.S. Embassy has limited operations, making help difficult to access. Arrests of American citizens have increased on questionable legal grounds. Russians are wary of open interaction with foreigners, fearing consequences. Many locals have adopted a cold, distant attitude toward Americans. Social media platforms are tightly controlled, with anti-American narratives common. Discussions about democracy or LGBTQ+ rights are extremely sensitive topics. Americans are advised to avoid political debates and public demonstrations. Despite this, some Russians show kindness privately, especially in rural areas. But overall, Americans are no longer seen as friendly guests. Number 6. Turkey has shifted politically over the last decade, straining its relations with the West. The failed coup in 2016 marked a turning point in American-Turkish diplomacy. Turkish media has blamed the U.S. for supporting opposition groups. U.S. citizens now report longer waits and more questioning at airports. Some regions are particularly sensitive to foreign presence, especially Americans. Anti-American protests have occurred in cities like Istanbul and Ankara. There is growing resentment about American influence in Middle Eastern affairs. Religious conservatism is increasing, affecting how foreigners are treated socially. American tourists are encouraged to dress modestly and avoid political talk. Expats report discomfort discussing American policies with locals. American businesses face more regulations and taxes than before. Still, many Turks in the tourism sector remain friendly and professional. Rural areas tend to be warmer and less politically influenced. However, tensions linger in urban environments, especially regarding westernization. Americans in Turkey must now be more cautious and culturally aware than ever.
Number 5.
Germany and the U.S. have a long-standing alliance, but attitudes are changing. The Snowden spying scandal caused a major break in public trust. Germany is becoming more critical of American global leadership. Many Germans openly criticize American gun laws and healthcare systems. Tourists report less warmth in service interactions compared to previous years. Political discussions about NATO, Ukraine, and climate change cause friction. Older generations remember U.S. military presence with mixed feelings. Younger Germans are often skeptical of U.S. capitalism and foreign policy. Germans value privacy, order, and directness, traits they feel Americans lack. There is also concern about the rise of American-style consumerism. American brands are popular but draw criticism for cultural dilution. Public protests occasionally target American embassies or military bases. Social circles are harder for expats to join without fluency in German. Respect and adaptability are key to a positive experience in Germany. While not hostile, Germany is certainly less welcoming than before.
Number 4.
Iran and America have been adversaries for over 4 decades now. The Iranian Revolution of 1979 set the stage for ongoing hostility. Diplomatic relations remain severed, and travel is highly restricted. Americans require special approval to visit, and only with government escorts. Independent movement is forbidden, and all actions are monitored. The state-run media portrays Americans as corrupt and dangerous. Public murals often show anti-U.S. symbols and war-themed artwork. Dual nationals have been detained under accusations of espionage. Locals may be friendly in private but avoid public interactions. Talking politics in Iran is risky, especially for foreigners. The internet is censored, and American websites are often blocked. Cultural rules are strictly enforced, especially for women. Despite this, Iranian hospitality is strong when allowed to flourish. Still, Americans face risks and are advised to avoid travel. Iran today is no longer a destination for casual tourism by U.S. citizens.
Number 3.
Venezuela has faced years of political instability and economic collapse. The U.S. government imposed sanctions, worsening relations further. The Venezuelan government blames America for many of its problems. American tourists are seen as suspicious and often monitored. Kidnappings and violent crime are major risks, especially in Caracas. U.S. citizens are strongly advised not to travel without security. Political tensions have led to several embassy closures and evacuations. American NGOs face restrictions or are banned entirely. Propaganda against the U.S. is common in schools and television. Locals who interact with Americans may face social or legal backlash. Hyperinflation and scarcity of resources make travel very difficult. Even humanitarian workers are considered political threats in some regions. The perception of Americans has shifted from friendly to dangerous. Venezuela is no longer safe or viable for most foreign visitors. Americans, in particular, are met with mistrust and hostility.
Number 2.
North Korea is perhaps the most anti-American country in the world today. Travel for U.S. citizens is outright banned by their own government. The regime considers America the root of all foreign aggression. Propaganda paints Americans as violent enemies of the people. Citizens are trained from birth to fear and hate the United States. There are no diplomatic ties or consular services for Americans. The death of Otto Warmbier serves as a warning to all travelers. U.S. visitors are heavily controlled and watched at all times. Missteps like taking a wrong photo can lead to arrest. The regime uses foreigners, especially Americans, for political leverage. There is no internet or freedom of speech for tourists. Any friendly interaction is carefully scripted and staged. Foreigners are not allowed to speak freely with local citizens. American flags or logos are considered extremely provocative. North Korea is not just unfriendly, it is outright hostile to Americans.
Number 1.
Since the Taliban's return to power, Afghanistan has become extremely unsafe. The U.S. withdrawal left behind broken alliances and unresolved trauma. The Taliban views Americans as occupiers and ideological enemies. There is no U.S. embassy or consulate left to assist travelers. Journalists, aid workers, and tourists are at extreme risk. Many locals who worked with Americans have been persecuted. The country remains under constant surveillance by extremist forces. Roadblocks, abductions, and violence are everyday threats in many areas. American passports can trigger suspicion or even retaliation. There are no protections or evacuation options currently in place. Cultural norms are now stricter under Taliban rule, especially for women. Communication tools are limited, making contact with the outside world hard. Even humanitarian missions face constant threats from armed groups. The U.S. government strongly advises against all travel to Afghanistan. Americans are not just unwelcome, they are targets in hiding. As global dynamics continue to shift, it's clear that the way Americans are perceived and treated around the world is evolving. Whether it's due to political decisions, cultural clashes, or historical tensions, these 10 countries now see American visitors through a different lens. While travel still opens doors to incredible experiences, being informed, respectful, and aware of the local sentiment has never been more important. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our latest uploads about global affairs and travel trends. And tell us in the comments, which country surprised you the most? Safe travels, and stay informed.